Hey guys, Gus here and welcome to my first video in my series on role-playing. Now I thought I'd start off by answering the question that I get asked a lot, which is, what is role-playing? Now the way that I used to describe role-playing is, if you imagine your favourite novel or book, and now imagine the characters that you enjoyed reading about within those books. And role-playing is essentially you play one of those characters, except you're not set on a single linear storyline. You can essentially control your favourite characters and you do whatever you want to do within the storyline, which is narrated by the game master or the dungeon master, which is a single person. He's the one who narrates the storyline, he controls all the enemies, and he essentially narrates the plot. He's the one that's essentially reading the book to you, except he's reading it, you know, as you're making the choices and the decisions as the players, as the main characters. And generally it's you have one dungeon master, one game master, and anywhere from 4 or more players that are playing the main characters within the storyline. And just let your imagination run wild really and do whatever you want. Equip your characters how you want, make them do whatever you want, travel to anywhere you want within the world, and make decisions and choices for those characters and let the storyline evolve around them. Now the way that this is done in the tabletop role-playing format is generally your characters will be recorded down on pieces of paper that will record individual characters' skills such as climbing, weapon use, their ability to read and write, speak languages, and also their abilities, things like strength and toughness and their dexterity and their intelligence, and this is all recorded in points. And generally with these games it involves a lot of dice rolling, so you dice roll to make skill checks to see if your players discover some forbidden secret in some forgotten library, or you'd make dice rolls for attack rolls against enemies and then more dice rolls to deduct damage points from enemies. And that's the way that the mechanics of the game work, and there's a vast amount of actual role-playing games out there that cover all sorts of settings, from science fiction to fantasy to Lovecraftian horror, and each one of these generally has a system attached to them. So for fantasy, the most iconic system is Dungeons and Dragons, and also things like RuneQuest. For science fiction, you've got GURPS. You can play in the Star Wars universe if you want, and also for the horror setting, the Call of Cthulhu is one of my personal favourite games. So out of all the gaming I've done, and that includes tabletop role-playing, it includes online gaming, it includes board games, wargaming. My all-time favourite, and a game which has created the best memories for me, has been tabletop role-playing, just because of the social interaction, the open-ended nature of the gaming, and the epic storylines that can be explored and told in this fashion. So that is a brief explanation on what is role-playing. I hope you find it informative and enjoyable, and take care.